Takes always a couple seconds for it to register. I can see the first likes are coming in. Okay, let's get ready. Unfortunately, LinkedIn is a little bit janky, so I sometimes don't see all the comments. I'll try to refresh as I can so that I see what's going on. Okay, there's 2 people. People are joining. Please let me know in the comments if the audio quality is okay, if there's something off. Want to make sure that all the technology works as intended. Welcome everyone! People are joining. I'm super happy. I was kind of surprised that over 40 people said yes to the event. I think something about wanting a fantastic tech team resonates with a lot of people, so I'm really happy about that. Let's see if the sound works. Press the light bulb. Give me a light bulb. For people, welcome everyone. Perfect. Hi Istvan, welcome. Yes, I can see light bulbs. So the plan for today is this. It's still 1 minute until 2 p.m. and we're gonna wait 5 minutes for more people to join in, and then I'll do a short presentation that I should have rehearsed a little bit more, but hopefully you'll get some nice nuggets of knowledge. And then we'll have an interactive session where I set up a video call and you can all jump in and we can have questions in a better format than last time, hopefully. All the tech works. Of course, I didn't test it, so let's see, you know. I can see 5 people already in the stream. That's amazing. How's everyone doing? We've got some rain here in Brno, Czech Republic. It's a nice rainy day. Not too cold. I see some thumbs up. And when it's like this overcast, I'm happy because I've got a good lighting setup. That's the best. Windows on the ceiling, so you get a nice soft light. Let's see, Dennis told me that there's a problem when you're looking at LinkedIn comments. Sometimes the socket connection doesn't really work in a good way, so you don't get real-time comments. which means that I'm manually refreshing every once in a while, and hopefully that fixes it. Primo Stoucher says, good, thanks, welcome, long time no see. I'm happy that you're good, and with the sunglasses, I hope you have sun where you are. I wanted to have some music. Hello Dennis, welcome. I see the stream is breaking for you a little bit from time to time. My CPU seems good. My network seems alright. Let me check the stream settings. Stream quality excellent. Bitrate 5 megabytes per second. At 30 frames per second, no craziness going on this side. You know how they say, have you tried turning it off and on again? Seven people. Dennis, say hello to your little kids as well, and of course to your Asya. That's amazing. Again, for the people who have just joined in, today it's going to be a little bit different because we're going to start with the presentation. It's not going to be too long. I just want to give you the gold nuggets and the interesting stories, and then hopefully we can have an interactive discussion where I'll open up a room where you can join live with your cameras on a group call, and we can have a discussion. So stay tuned for that. And we'll wait 2 more minutes. I don't have music set up today because my technology has decided to fail. So it's just me talking and trying to keep you all entertained until we start with the meat of the presentation. And while we're waiting, drop me in the comments like what interested you in this event. Like, are you expecting, do you have some expectations? Are you just curious about what I'm up to? Do you have a specific question or something that you would like me to address, something that would be valuable to you? Let me know in the comments, and so I can have a better feeling of what the audience expects. I'm smashing the refresh button. Of course, typical support answer alongside it must be network issues on your side. Of course, just call Telecom Slovenia and ask them what the hell is going on with your network, right? Or T2 or wherever you are. Okay, we're still getting new people, so I don't want to start too early. But so let's wait 1 more minute and then we'll go. Then we'll go. I can give you a little bit of a backstory, or maybe let's leave that for the presentation. Okay. Hey Peter, nice to see you too. It's, it's amazing to see that people are responding to this event, so I'm really happy for that. I appreciate that you're all here. You know, it's always when I know it's not easy when you take your time out of your day to be on a live stream. Like that's very valuable, and I appreciate that. So thank you. I say, let me see some thumbs up if you're ready to begin, and we jump right into it. Okay, 7 people. Let's go. Yes, thumbs up are going in. I'll be keeping one eye on the comments in case of any technical difficulties. Let's agree that you all smash the funny icon. If there's a technical difficulty, just go like technical difficulty. Something failed. There's no sound. Right? Okay, let's kick this off. Today, from a new angle, because I have two camera setup. Welcome everyone to the third live stream. Today we're talking about what it takes to build a fantastic tech team, and of course it's a clickbaity title, but I'm here to give you some of the things that I learned along the years when I was part of teams, leading teams, and growing teams. So let's dive into it. I want to start with a question. So have you ever wondered why some tech teams seem unbeatable and then some tech teams struggle to deliver anything, or are very defensive and are, you know, I hear that a lot sometimes, that, you know what, we have so many features to do, but our tech team is really slow and defensive. Why is that? Let's take a look. First, I want to give you a little bit of backstory. My first job, I was still in college and I was interested in all things web. I love to tinker and I wanted to build websites. I did that in my spare time, and then I got a job while at university. One of the professors was approached by a company and said, hey, do you have some good students that you can recommend and we'll teach them everything? So they were looking for a junior developer. And I said yes, went on an interview and landed my first job. And it was quite fast paced. I was thrown straight into it, and it was really good fun. I was learning a ton. It was exciting, new technologies, learning to program. I had a good mentor, he was strict, but really helped me a lot to kickstart my career. Until I hit a ceiling, and I hit that ceiling hard. My learning just stopped, and I started not feeling that good in the whole situation. There was a lot of things to do, but it seems like we were always rushing, that we were always somehow in a state of panic. And that created kind of a lot of misery. I felt inside the team, for me personally, for sure, and I felt that it's mostly self-imposed. And when I say self-imposed, I mean by the team itself. Because there's always external factors that go into what's going on and the deadlines that you need to hit and the client expectations. But how do you then translate those client expectations into the actual team and the deadlines that you set for yourself and the standards that you set? That's self-imposed. And I started thinking, is there a better way? What do we need to change in order to do better? Right around that time, there was a very influential book that I'm sure a lot of you know that came out by Dan Pink. It's called Drive, and it looks at human motivation. And he proposes that we should change our workplaces to go from money rewards into what actually motivates us. At a certain point, the compensation that you get, so your salary, doesn't really increase motivation. You have enough, and then all the other things are more important than that. And that really resonated with me. I could understand what was missing for me personally, and what was missing was what he talks about. Let's briefly touch on that. So he describes 3 pillars of motivation: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And I feel that there are 2 levels to this. They all apply on an individual level, but also on a team level. So the larger team needs to have them as well. Unfortunately, we inadvertently, not through malice, but through ignorance, or we just don't know better, create teams and modes of working that have silent, deadly killers of autonomy and mastery and purpose. Let's take a look at some of the problems that you have, that you need to remove if you want to have a fantastic tech team. Let's talk about the first one. The killers of autonomy. What you're seeing there popping up at your screen, and I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with, is what I call Jira hell, where you have a lot of tasks and it just overbearing, right? There's no room for you to do what you think is best for the outcome. Everything's broken down and handed down, and there's managers above managers, and there's no room for you to find your own way to contribute in the way that you think is best. Then of course the classic one, micromanagement. We all had one of those bosses that constantly tells you what to do, not what outcome he wants, but how you should get there. And that's, I think, the real killer of autonomy, is when somebody tells you not what they want in terms of outcome, but when they give you a recipe that might not be the one that you would come up or fit your style of work. Another killer of autonomy is over-reliance on meetings. Unclear goals is, you cannot be autonomous if you don't know what you're working on, right? And frequent interruptions, another big one. And that means either constantly somebody pulling you into meetings, or there's no space for you to actually work on the problems that are really important. Let's move now from autonomy to mastery and explore some killers of mastery. Sorry about that. So the killers of mastery are, whenever you have repetitive tasks, there's no opportunity to learn. You don't get the mentorship that you require to really hone in on your craft. Maybe you're working on a low quality code base and it's just a real pain to work on, and you're not really growing because you're stuck in the past, let's say. Let's say the code base is stuck in the past and you cannot really learn about good software practices when there are no in the code base that you're in daily. Maybe there's inadequate challenges. It just become too easy. You're always doing the same kind of tasks and it gets boring. Maybe you don't get recognized for your achievements. Again, maybe there's unclear goals. And you will see that a lot of these things that impact autonomy also translate to mastery and purpose. So another big one is also lack of time. And what do I mean by that? It means that there's no space for you to learn on your own, to improve things in the code base, for example, because there's always things to do. Jira is always, there's 3 times the amount of tasks always there in the sprint, and you're always making 1/3. But it just keeps repeating month after month. Now let's move from mastery to purpose and talk about the killers of purpose. Here there's a big one, which is if there's a disconnect between what the leadership wants and what the employees understand, then that's going to kill any purpose. Another big one is also, this is what we talk about, a task-focused culture that creates the Jira hell. If you don't have autonomy, you will not have purpose. That's connected. Maybe there's poor communication between what's needed between different departments. Maybe the requirements are always changing, so that you're always chasing a new thing, so there's no really big way. You don't see the impact of your work because of those changing requirements. And not seeing the impact of your work, that's for me personally one of the biggest ones. If I'm working on something but I cannot say to anyone, look at this, I created this, it's super cool, we fixed this bug or we deployed this feature, and you don't get to celebrate those wins, then all you're left is with we had this bug and this went down, and that's really killing your purpose. Let's see, let's check with the audience here at this point. I hope I didn't bring the mood down too much, but I think it's really important to address those things, because if you know about them and if you know about those killers, then you can design teams and workplaces where you purposefully address those and create better teams. All good, people? Thumbs up? Are you alive? And then let's talk about a story. And for that, I'll put you on the other side. So when I was at MVP Factory, one of my first projects was a very interesting setup where a client approached us. They'd been working with another agency, and that agency was struggling to create a high quality product. They had a lot of bugs. So the client approached us to help the other agency to fix their bugs. And as you can imagine, that's a really complicated setup, right? You've got the client, you've got the agency one, and now the client brought somebody else in order to fix the bugs that they couldn't fix themselves. That's a recipe for disaster, and normally, you need to run in these kind of situations. The important thing for me coming onto that project was that we focus on the big picture. Like what destroys tech teams is this us versus them mentality. And I've seen that too many times. There's us as the tech team, there's us as the company, and then there's them, and then there's the client. And this really creates division and stops communication, breaks down collaboration, so it really negatively impacts the tech team itself. My first priority was get everyone aligned on a goal, on a vision. And you will see that, you can call that one of my secrets, is when you shift focus from us versus them to a goal that needs to be achieved. And in that case, it was a really positive goal. It was for connecting to helping people. And you can get engineers on board with a good cause. So when everyone understood that we are here to fix the bugs, not because who's better, are you better or are we better, but in order to help the customer who's actually using the app, that was the breakthrough that was required in order for the team as a whole, and now I say the team as the overall team, to pull together. And this is another big one, but I'll touch on that with another story a bit later down the line. So once that was in place, once everyone understood, okay, it's not about us versus them, it's about us as a collective solving a difficult problem, then we could all step into a role. And we had the agency one who had the technical expertise because they built it, they knew where the things are. We were extra help on to identify those bugs and to fix them. And then the client was happy because they got results, right? So we managed to connect everyone together. We found a gap where we were missing some DevOps, we put that in, and suddenly we were all focused on the objective at hand, and all the politics, who versus them, us, them, just faded away. That was the first story. Let's go back to the presentation. So let's talk about the attributes of a fantastic tech team. And this is for sure not a comprehensive list by any stretch of the imagination. There's so much more that goes into it, but we will not be able to cover all of this today. Here's a few though, just to keep in mind. A fantastic tech team is one that works together, is very adaptable, has ethical standards, says, okay, we will do this, but we will not do this thing. It is striving to achieve technical excellence with a good mix of people. They're practicing clear communication. They're focused on the customer, right? They approach things with a problem-solving mindset. And this is a huge one. You can really see when people are getting into this problem finding mindset versus a problem solving mindset. And when the team is defensive, when you have those killers of autonomy, mastery, and purpose at play, then the team becomes defensive and they're finding problems. But when you remove those and the team has the autonomy to do what's needed, then they become problem solving oriented. And when you have such a team, you can do anything. That also boosts morale and motivation. I said one of the killers of a fantastic tech team is that you don't see your wins. You don't celebrate them enough. That drives down morale. And high morale and motivation is one of the attributes of a fantastic tech team. Another one is accountability and responsibility, so that it's not designed by committee. You divide and you conquer. Everyone has their own responsibilities and is accountable for a subset of tasks, and those accountabilities are clear. And then you don't need to have avoidance strategies in place and hiding and blaming others for problems, but you take on responsibility and you're accountable to deliver on the results. And that impacts the whole team as well. So let's talk about my secret sauce, what you all came here for. And of course I jest because it's clickbait, but there's still some things that I found are really important to nurture when you're building a tech team. The first one, and a huge one, is fun. If you don't have fun solving problems, writing code, dealing with the problems that you're having every day, then you're not going to have a good experience. You will not have a motivated team that comes to work energized to say what tasks are on the plate today and goes at them one at a time. The next one is excellence. You want to have people who are motivated to improve themselves, who want to create something that's better than what they have, and who strive towards continuous improvement. You want to foster mentorship within the team and camaraderie. That's a difficult word to say, but it's an important one. You want to grow a sense of belonging, and you do that by aligning people with the vision that's at hand, like what tasks are we doing and why. The why is really important. And then alignment towards the vision, like I mentioned. Perfect, let's continue with the secrets. Another big one that I've noticed over the years that people tend to avoid is conflict. Because if you want to have a fantastic tech team, then you should not have one that avoids conflict. That's toxic. It's also toxic when conflict is present, but it's done in a wrong way, without empathy. But it's arguing, it's combative. It's not good when it's combative. But it's really good when you're having a difference of opinion, or when you see that something is wrong and you should feel empowered and safe to raise those issues and then resolve that conflict. I see a thumbs up just came, which is amazing. And this is the secret sauce. Ask yourself, what conversations are you not having that you should be having within the team as an individual, and maybe in life in general. Let's talk about more secret sauce. Teams are dynamic. What do I mean by that? A lot of time we have this tunnel vision that our team is what it says on paper, because we are a direct report of person A, and then person A has 5 members, and that's my team. And I found out that's not as intuitive to people as it is for me. We are all part of, let's say, formal teams, and then we are part of informal teams. Maybe you all go to the water cooler for a slice of cake after lunch, right? Maybe that's your informal team, and a lot of a discussion happens there. That's really important to be aware of, and it also, people tend to create their own limitations, and it again goes into this us versus them mentality. We should really avoid those. And unconnected, but really important, is also to ask yourself, what problem are we solving, and do the root cause analysis. The 5 whys. Why are we doing this? Why do we need to do it? Let's talk about more secret sauce. Leadership vacuums. Over the years, I found out that it's not good when there's too much of a flat structure. If nobody takes the lead, then you end up not moving anywhere. And I'm not talking about the leadership in a sense where you tell everyone what to do and you're really brutal about it. But somebody at the end of the day needs to decide and be accountable for the decision. And when you don't have that, then you're spending your time looking for consensus in meetings, avoiding actually working on a solution. So at some point, if there's a leadership vacuum, and when we're talking about different teams, a lot of times projects go across departments. So there's not really clear or defined who leads in that way, especially where there's multiple peers at different intersections. And an important principle for that is to lead by example and with empathy. And here we come to story number 2. So the story number 2 goes like this. We were talking about these formal teams versus informal teams. A couple of years ago, I was on a project that was spanning across different departments. And there was a team implementing a payment system, and then there was my team that was overseeing a product that should integrate that system. And then there was 3 different avenues that we kind of crossed paths with. There was the architect, and we needed to form a new team that would deliver the project and do the integration. And as you can imagine, there were multiple people at the same, let's say, contract level at the company. So when we were sitting in an office, we didn't agree on who's in charge, and there was a power vacuum. There was another problem, which is that there was no vision for where this thing needs to go. So when you're saying we're doing this project, it's really important to understand what's the outcome of it. What's the bottom line? How much are we saving? How much are we gaining maybe in monetary value? Just so that everyone knows what's at stake and what success looks like. Let's say if we succeed, we make 10 million. If we fail, maybe we lose 2. And then you can weigh the risks. But it's important to just know what's at stake. Otherwise, what happens, especially in larger organizations, is that you are kind of working on a project, getting paid a salary, and it just drags on. It goes on 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and nothing really happens until the whole team gets disbanded, right? Because at the end of the day, somebody looks at the budget and says, why the hell are we spending so much money on something that hasn't made an impact on the bottom line? So in that meeting, or in that situation, I saw that there was a power vacuum. And I approached it as, I brought in all the senior leadership that was on the same level and said, guys, we have a leadership vacuum. Somebody needs to step into the shoes and lead. Who volunteers? And when nobody volunteered, I said, I volunteered to take on that responsibility. That's the key part. You don't want to jump in and override everyone. If somebody else said, hey, I want to do it, of course, be my guest. I would love for that. I would love to see that. In that case, I took over. And one of the first things was that I needed to explain to people that even though we are different teams on paper, we're working on the same project and we have a common goal. And that was really hard because people are really feel comfortable in their walled gardens. That's my team, that's our rituals, and that's your team and your rituals. And then you establish these small communication channels in between that don't lead anywhere. So a big part of that was to actually convince everyone what's the bottom line, what's at stake, what's the greater vision for this project. And then when everyone knew that at the presentation, we could start. And that was when we start seeing progress and not just working on something because you're getting tasks handed from the top. Cool, back to the presentation. And I promise it's not long now. That was almost the last story. I realize there's one more. But we'll speed through that because I want to have the interactive discussion. Another one of my secrets is invest in books, make space to learn, let people learn on the job, get the mentors and coaches, send them to conference and buy them courses. Whatever you can do to make sure that people are improving themselves, they have the capacity to learn, do that. At the end of the day, it doesn't cost that much, but it has huge benefits. And especially an underrated one is getting a coach or a mentor. When you identify that somebody is missing expertise in a specific area, get them a coach, find them a mentor. Another one of my secrets is reduce the cognitive load on the team. It means that if the team is all the time thinking what they need to do, if there's all the time, they're basically busy all the time working on routine tasks, they're not going to perform well. They're not going to be motivated. They will not do their best work. So I think it's really important to automate all those things that are increasing the mental load, reducing the amount of meetings, improving communication channels, reducing the tech debt, and really defining the frame of where people are working in, so that they don't need to know how to deploy 5 different servers and work on 3 different code bases. You can do that with good organizational architecture. Cool, next secret sauce. We're talking about organizational architecture. Conway's law says that the communicate that the architecture of the software application will mimic the communication channels inside the company, which you can use to your advantage if you do the reverse and design your organizational architecture to mimic your software architecture. So if you want to have two products with an API, then create two teams, and the communication channel will naturally create an API. But the thing that's important is that you think about your organization and your team structure as something not set in stone, but something fluid, something that can change. And it changes depending on the needs of the architecture as well. So it goes beyond just software. Next one from my secret sauce list. And I've seen that backfire too many times. We avoid firing people, even when we know that we should. And it would not only be better for the team itself, it would also be better for the individual that's getting fired, because very likely they're not enjoying the job that they're currently in because they're struggling in some way, and finding them an environment or a new opportunity where they would be a better fit, where they would get the support that they need, is a much better way than keeping them in a status quo where they're not contributing to the team, where they're slowing everyone back and they're unhappy because of it, but they're afraid to quit themselves because of safety. Here, it's important to do it with empathy and give them the support that they need to find another job. Don't do it in a brutal way, but do it in a decisive way. Set a standard and hold everyone to it. So when you avoid the difficult conversation, and that goes again to the conflict that we talked about, when you avoid the difficult conversations, that leads to disaster for the whole team. That one was a bit heavy, so let's talk about embracing the power of individuals. So within the tech community, there's a lot of introverts, but there are introverts everywhere. And they are really powerful, but usually they don't get a chance to speak out, which is a shame, because sometimes they're the ones with the best ideas, and the loud introverts in the room overpower everything. So it's important to create opportunity for the introverts to contribute. Either it's in writing or async or just asking everyone directly. And it's important to know where somebody is, so that you can take that into account. Don't let extroverts run your company. Adjust the team setting to the individuals that are within the team, so that everyone feels heard and appreciated. And another big one is focus on writing. What do I mean by that? I mean writing specs. That's really important. Document decisions. Put it all somewhere where you can read about it and new members can join and see why something was decided like that. Why is it the way it is? Nobody wants to go and read through everything, but it's important to document it. And I think that focusing on good writing is key. This is my pet peeve. Have efficient meetings. This is so basic, but most companies are still getting this so wrong. First of all, ask yourself, should it be a meeting? And if it should be a meeting, have an agenda, and after document the decisions that were made on the meeting, and then follow up after the meeting. Like that's, if you just do those, you will take your meetings from 0 to 90%, and then you can tweak the last 10%. But let's just agree to do the 90%, because I see those are one of the biggest killers of productivity and overall team satisfaction. Is if you have too many meetings so that nobody can get real work done, everyone if you hired competent engineers that know what problem needs to be solved, they're autonomous, they're masterful, and they have a purpose, and you block their day with countless meetings, you are destroying the very thing that you built. That takes so hard and so much investment. So don't do it. Simple as that. And now I'll leave you with this final story, and I'm gonna make it short, but this is when it all clicks. So a couple of years ago, I was on a project. It was a startup, and we had mostly senior people, senior engineers, and there was a sweet spot where everything just clicked. We had a team that was not afraid of conflict, and we were motivated, we had vision and purpose, we knew what we wanted to achieve, and we had to implement a new game. So when all those things mix together, then you achieve something called the team flow state, let's call it, where you don't really need to break down tasks and tell everyone what to do, but it's just like, okay, what needs to be done? You have the conflict, you resolve what needs to be done, and then everyone just takes a chunk and says, okay, I'll do this, you do this, how about this? It's done. And things moved really fast. And in that kind of situation, when you create this fantastic tech team that has purpose, that's masterful, and things are really flowing, when problems come up, the team is adaptable enough to change it. And for us, it was when our API provider suddenly became really unstable, and we needed to change to a different API provider that was introducing a completely new paradigm. Data was now coming with a delay, which means that we needed to re-architect how our application works. But it was easy because we did the groundwork. We had a team that was adaptable. We had an emergency meeting. We sat down, okay, the API is not working. What are the alternatives? We chose one. We broke down what needs to be done. And the next day we were off to the races and churning out high quality code that was actually getting released often into the hands of the users. And that's a crucial one. So when everything clicks, you have a fantastic tech team. So with that, thank you for coming to Livestream session number 3. It's not yet over because now it's time for the interactive part. That's the experimental part where we open up the discussion floor to everyone. So I invite everyone to join. Wait just a second. To join whereby. Here's the live discussion. There's the link. I'll open it up now. I have mic, I have setup. So please join the link below. It's a live call. And we're gonna do questions in an interactive format, where you actually get to speak to me live on camera. But just know that you will be streamed, so if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can turn off your camera and just be voice only. But I would love to see you in the call. I'll send you the link. Mariana Skubit says, can I share some screenshots on LinkedIn with tags and mentions? Yes, please do. Let people know what's going on. And thank you so much for coming to the presentation. Now jump into the live part. Let's see. Let's try to get some people there. Okay, let's go to the live. Back to full screen. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm gonna wrap it up because I think there's nobody joining the live call. I'm gonna try again, but next time I'll advertise it more so that you know that you can join after the call is over so that we can have an interactive discussion. If you have still some more questions, let's say you're watching this at a later date and you're like, okay, I wanna learn more about this, or you have a specific thing that you would like to reach out to, please connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message, or just come and say hi. Thank you everyone for watching. It's been amazing. I'm super happy for all the positive responses that I got, and I'll see you next week. Oh, wait. Hello, Dennis. Want to. Wait, I'll
just hi. Just making sure. I need to jump off to lunch, but I'm just showing some support. Hello. So technology seems to work. Just wanted to show some support in the live stream. It's lunchtime, so very strict on routine with the kids, especially with the meeting and the scheduling clashes. So yeah. Also stream today, by the way. I need to jump off. You, of course. Ciao.
once again, see you next week. I don't have a title yet, but look on my stream on Monday and you will see a new stream scheduled for Friday. I'm looking forward to that.